أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بسم الله الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Alhamdulillah. Farida, I didn't ask you, you want me to do it in English or Urdu? What do you prefer, English or Urdu? Quickly. English? Okay. So Alhamdulillah that we've gathered here. It just makes me miss Auntie Zubaida. I have to mention, because when I came in this road only, I was thinking my emotions are all overwhelmed, because after she's gone from among us, this is the first time I'm coming to this house, and it was just making me remember all the beautiful, pleasant memories with Auntie Zubaida. So we will, inshallah, make lots of dua, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make this dars as a sadaqah jariyah for her, inshallah, for whatever we speak, whatever we learn, whatever we take from this, whatever food we eat, whatever water we drink, everything. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase it as her hasanat and give the blessings to her. I hope that Farida won't mind me saying that, okay? Because whatever you people are doing, it is khair for her, inshallah. And these are the good deeds that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that, you know, when you leave righteous children behind and they do any good deeds, it increases the hasanat of the parents who have passed away. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase into her hasanat, whatever, inshallah, we take from here today. So today, I was thinking what I should talk here with all of you. And I thought of something very simple, because there's lots of even the young girls among us, and something we are very familiar with, and maybe most of us have memorized it, most of us know it. I'm going to delve into its essence, which is Ayat al Kursi. It's an ayah of the Quran, which I'm sure everybody is familiar with, and we all recite it every day. Maybe all of us recite it every salah, after every salah, and we recite it before going to bed, and so on. So I'm going to tell you the importance and what makes this ayah something very different from the rest of the Quran. So to begin with, if I go into how the Ayat al Kursi starts and finishes, this is the ayah, the importance of this ayah. And of course, I'll end it with a very beautiful story. But to begin with, Rasulullah SAW one day was sitting among the Sahaba, and he called Ubay bin Ka'ab. Ubay bin Ka'ab radiallahu anhu was somebody who was called a knowledgeable among the Sahaba. And Rasulullah SAW in that gathering, he asked, Ya Ubay, tell me, which is the most important ayah of the Quran? He did not answer. He was hesitant. He said, Ya Ubay, I'm asking you, tell me what is the most important ayah of the Quran? He bent his head and he was still very hesitant. And as Ubay narrates, he says, I wanted to say, but I was afraid to say it in front of Rasulullah, because you don't know if you're going to say it right or wrong, and you don't want to tell the wrong answer. He said, Ubay, you can tell. And he gave him a push and said, come on, tell, which is the important ayah? And he said, Allahu la ilaha illa huwa al-hayyul qayyum. He said, Ya Ubay, may Allah make knowledge always pleasant for you. May it always be good news for you. And may you and the happiness will go together in knowledge. So he gave him a very commendable, and he gave him a push. You know how you push somebody and say, good, you did it. You know what to say it. And Ubay was very happy and excited about it. So what was it that it gave the importance to this Ayat al Kursi? First thing we tell our children, read Ayat al Kursi, recite it. When you go out, recite it. When you're sleeping, recite it. But we don't tell the importance of this Ayat al Kursi. Why? Why do we have to say it so much of importance to this particular ayah? If you notice, this ayah is the only ayah in the Quran which actually gives us the relationship between us and Allah. This is the ayah that connects us directly with Allah. And it also gives us the knowledge of our relationship with our Creator. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says how it starts, how do you start when you meet somebody? I met Sabah, I said, I'm Durreshehwar. She said, I'm Sabah. How do we introduce ourselves? First, we tell our names. It's an identity, who we are. So that you remember, I'm Durreshehwar. You remember, I'm Sabah. You remember, I'm Naseem, so on. So when we meet somebody, we give name. That's our identification. Allah is introducing himself to us. Allah. That's my first name, Allah. Allahu la ilaha illa. And there is nobody worthy of worship. Allahu la ilaha illa huwa al-hayyul qayyum. He is the one who is always hayat, always alive. He was there before the end of the world. He will be there after the end of the world. And qayyum, he is there. He is the most stable. He is always there. And why this phrase is so important? Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's hadith, I want to share it with you today. I didn't realize that this Hayyu and Qayyum is coming today, but it's just come to me now. Subhanallah, that Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, when you really want to call Allah for something in your difficulty, you say, Ya Hayyu, Ya Qayyum, bi rahmatika astaghis. When you say that, Allah gives attention to you. My slave has called out to me by remembering me as somebody always there for him. He was always there before. He will always be there. So who is there for us? When nobody is there, we have the Hayyu and Qayyum. He's always there. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is now introducing himself. Who am I? I'm Allah. La ilaha illa huwa al-hayyul qayyum. La ta'khuduhu sinatun wa la nawm. And he does not doze off, nor does he sleep. He does not doze off also. Not 1 second Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's knowledge is away from what we think, do, where we are, who's where, what's happening. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not get tired. He does not have the sifat of a human being, the attributes of a human being. We become tired, we have aches and pains, we get stressed, we get depressed, we get excited, we sleep, we feel hungry. All these things Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is away from. He's unique. So he does not doze off. And why Allah has to mention that to you? I'm somebody whose name is Allah, and there is no other being worthy of worship because I've always been there. I will always be there. And I'm stable. I'm Qayyum. And I never doze off. It is to tell you, I never for a second, fraction of a second away from you. Don't think that I don't know what's going on. Sometimes in our worst moments, when we are down and we are feeling depressed or, overwhelmed by things happening to us, we think, where is Allah? Doesn't he know what's happening to me? You should know that he knows it all the time. He is not ever even dozing off. There are some religions. I don't mean to downgrade any religion. So don't take that as somebody, we should not, as Muslims, anytime speak bad about other religions. At the same time, I have to mention that some religions, they have something to wake up their God, like a bell, dung. I asked one day, why do they have to ring a bell to go into their worship place? Not mentioning any religion here. I'm just talking about how other people think about it. And they say we have to wake up the God to say a slave has approached you. Our God, we don't have to wake him up. He's Hayyu and Qayyum. He does not doze off. He does not fall asleep. He's never ignorant of what's happening in the world. Simultaneously, so many people are praying. Simultaneously, maybe so many people are reciting Quran, reciting Askar. So many are crying. So many are committing sins. Everything he's aware of. He's listening, watching, seeing everything. So he is always aware of what's going on. Okay? So la ta'khudahu sinatam wala nawm lahu ma fis samawati wa ma fil ard. He is the one, okay, who's the owner, creator of everything which is between this earth and the sky. Because that's our knowledge. Beyond the sky, we have no knowledge. Do you know? Have you ever tried looking out? Now we are sitting in a place like this in Palm Jumeirah. We go out, we see the sky. You see the sky is going down like this. Because that's how vision is. It has an end, a limit. We cannot see beyond. We don't see sky as sky like this. We see sky bending. Okay? Why? Because that's the limitation we have. We cannot see beyond. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us whatever exists between the sky and the earth belongs to me. I am the owner, the creator of everything that's between the heaven and the earth. Now let's stop here and think what all is between the heaven and the earth. All the things that exist, all the animals, all the creatures, wild animals, even hasharat al-ard, as we call it, the creepy crawlers, the plants, the houses, you and me, my parents, my children, everything belongs to Allah. What is he trying to tell you? Nothing is yours. Did you think anything is yours? Did you ever think your parents were your parents? They were given to you. Did you think your children were your children? They were given to you. Did you think your wealth was your wealth? No, it was just given to you. You are custodian of everything that has been given to you to use. Just like if I join, supposing Farida has a company, okay, and she is the CEO of her company. She's employed me as a managing director. So what she will give me, she'll say, I'll give you salary, I'll give you housing, I'll give you transport, I'll give you this, that, perks, and whatever allowances. So what is all this? It has been given for the time period, for the tenure that I work for her. The day I leave that work, do I take that house and those perks and say I have to carry that with me? No, I go empty. Came empty, I go empty. This is the thing that we have to understand. We become very attached to people, to wealth. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, I will test you through your mal and awlad. These are the biggest tests Allah will place on you. If anybody is tested, very high tests, if somebody has to give, is wealth and children. So your children will either become disobedient to you, or they'll ill-treat you, or they will go astray, or they will trouble you. This is a test. If you start going towards children and forget your duty towards Allah, then you fail the test. Same thing with mal. How much we want to acquire wealth. Okay? How much we want to acquire wealth. Everybody wants to. There's nobody here who can deny, no, I don't want wealth. Everybody wants a good house, a good car, good clothes to wear, good things to use. Why not? Allah has placed these things for us. But to get attached to them is another thing. That you think this is mine. The moment you start thinking this is mine, you've lost the track. You've gone astray yourself. The moment you start thinking, my children, oh, you become so attached to your children. They're not yours. They're given to you for a certain number of years. Either your child will die or you will die, and that thing will end. So don't get carried away and lose the track, because your children are a test for you. And your wealth is a test for you. And if you think, Zinata pa ya jagah hai. Assalamu alaikum. If you think that, that subhanallah, I will keep this wealth and it's mine. I decide what I do with it because this is my wealth. I acquired it. You did not acquire it. Allah gave you the blessing to acquire it. And if you think even knowledge, if I start thinking I have this knowledge and I'm very proud of it, it's my knowledge. I can give a talk. I know so much. And I'm so-and-so, I'm an alima. I'm this, I'm that, I'm a mufti, I'm a scholar. And then what? I've been given this knowledge by Allah. It's His blessing. I don't deserve it. But He gives whom He wants to. And He takes His work from whomever He wants to. And then if I start thinking, oh, this is mine, and I'll only give you how much I can, and whatever I don't want to, I can hide that. And I'll give you the example of what I mean by that. Many years ago, when I was new in Dawa field, there was a lady who was giving a talk, and I had just barely come off my teens. By the way, from that time, I'm giving talks. So it's been many years. If I tell you how many years, you'll start telling me my age. So I'm not going to tell you how many years, okay? But it's 30 plus years. I've been giving talks here, okay, in Dubai. Now, when I started, I remember one lady was giving a talk and I thought, oh, this is fantastic. I want to take all the points, but I couldn't write that fast. So I'll ask her if I can take the copy of her notes because I'm interested. She said, no, I can't give you the copy of my notes. And what I thought for a moment, oh, she thinks if I take the copy of her notes, I will maybe give a better talk than her. She didn't realize, you ask me my notes, I'll give you any time. Go ahead, because I feel it's a sadqa jariyah for me. But if you're going to feel this way, then you're not parting with the knowledge Allah gave you. You're holding it back. Sometimes people give recipes and they don't tell you the tip. One lady gave me a recipe I'll never forget of a cake, and she didn't tell me one main ingredient in that, which was a very important ingredient. When I was trying to bake that cake, it was just not coming out properly. So I gave her a call and I said, you gave me this recipe, I put everything. She said, no, this is the way I make the cake. I told her, it's okay. I put one ingredient on my own and the cake turned out fine. And then I told her, this ingredient, do you put? She said, yeah, didn't I tell you? Oh, I must have forgotten. How can she forget such a main ingredient? People do that. I appreciate people who part with the knowledge because that's what Allah likes. He's given it to you, share it. Don't hold back. Same thing for the religious knowledge, share it. There are people who come and ask me my notes, I give them. They want to borrow my books, I give them. They even want me to prepare them for a lecture somewhere, I prepare them. Because they'll give it their own way, and whatever they say, it will bring sadaqah for me. Khair, inshallah. Nothing. She doesn't have to take my name. I don't have to be known by the dunya. I want Allah to remember I gave her. And Allah does not forget. Allah is not ungrateful. People are ungrateful. You may forget what I did for you, but Allah will never forget what I did for you, even if I gave you a glass of water. If I did it for the sake of Allah, then Allah has written it, recorded it, and He will return it. He is not ungrateful. We are ungrateful. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how He is trying to tell us when He says, Lahu ma fis samawati wa ma fil ard. You have to keep remembering this all the time, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the creator and the owner of everything that belongs in this area which is mentioned, from heaven to earth, nothing belongs to us. Why are we fighting? Why are we trying to compete? We will only get how much Allah wills and wishes for us. Nothing beyond that. And everything that we get, we cannot become, fat about it, because it is all the blessing of Allah. If He wills, He'll take it away in one day. If He wills, He can give it more than you can even think He can give you. It's all in His hands. Lahu ma fis samawati wa ma fil ard. Man zallazi yashfa'u indahu illa bi'iznih. And who is there who can give you the shafaat or salvation except with the permission of Allah? Without the permission of Allah, even Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam cannot give us the shafaat on the Day of Judgment. If anybody thinks they have the passport and license of getting shafaat from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and he is going to just get us out of the hellfire, you are living in a daydream. Come out of it. It's not going to happen like that. So let me give you a little picture of the Day of Judgment. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning that, because remember, He is introducing Himself to you, and this is a connection, a relationship between you and your Rabb, and He wants to tell you what He is capable of, what He's got control of, so that you understand what exactly is in your control. Nothing. Nothing. So I'll tell you, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, there is nobody without, what will be the Day of Judgment? Let me give you a picture of that. Okay. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's hadith, I will narrate to you. He said, on the Day of Judgment, when all the accounts are settled, and I'll tell you what he said. He said to his Sahaba, it's a very long hadith, so I'm just going to give you some excerpts from those hadiths, because I cannot give you the whole hadith, it will be too long. That hadith itself is one lecture. But he said, on the Day of Judgment, I will recognize every Muslim, every person who has said kalima even once in his lifetime, and everybody who has been praying, going for Umrah, doing their Zakah, Hajj. I'll recognize all of them. Sahaba was surprised. How will you recognize them? You know us because we are with you. Okay, he's Abu Bakr, this is Usman, this is Ali, this is Umar, this is Abu Huraira. How will you recognize others who will come after us? How will you recognize them? He said, I will recognize them from the light coming out of their forehead because of the salah they have performed. So those who are performing salah, a light will spark out from their foreheads. He said, the aza, the limbs where they wash for the wudu will be shining. They will be bright. And I will know these are the people who used to perform wudu. And I recognize they are my ummah. And they will be coming in a crowd. They will be coming. And I will wait for them. When I recognize them, I will wait for them in Hawd-e Kauthar. And you know what is Hawd-e Kauthar. It's the pond. Some say it's a lake. It's a water which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given as a gift to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam for his ummah. And He will give water to those who are thirsty from the tremendous happenings of Yawm al-Qiyamah. What will be happening? Why will they be thirsty? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that there will be people drenched in their sweat up to their mouth. There will be so much sweat out of the terror of the Yawm al-Qiyamah. With that, the way they will sweat. And they will be thirsty, their lips will be parched, and they will come, and they'll be rushing. When they see me, they will be rushing. Our Nabi is waiting, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, at the Hawd. He'll give us water. And the angel will come. Just right at that moment, when I will be about to offer them water, the angel will come and he will shift most of them away from the Hawd. And I will say, why are you doing this? I recognize them. This is my ummah. I can see the adha are shining from the wudu they were performing. And I can see the brightness coming out from their foreheads. They have done salah. They have done wudu. This is my ummah. Because wudu was never given to any other among the Anbiya, only Rasulullah. So this is something only exclusively given to the ummah of Rasulullah. That's why he's mentioning it, so much of importance given to the wudu. And he said, no, no, this is my ummah. Please let them come. Let me give them some water. They are thirsty. Their lips are all parched. He'll say, you don't know what they did. They may be your ummah, but after you left them, they fell into bidat. They did not follow your sunnah. So for those bidat, I have to take them to the hellfire, throw them there. Then you ask Allah for their forgiveness. I have to do that. And they will all be taken. And he cried and he said, I'll be helplessly standing there, watching them all go and thrown into the hellfire. And in the hellfire, they will be given special skins. Each skin will be as thick as a wall. Some maybe triple walls, 4 times walls, the thickness of walls. That's the kind of skins will be given for us to burn, na'udhu billah, in the hellfire. Allahumma ajarna minan nar wa min azab al-qabr. This is going to be the situation for just following bidat and not following the sunnah. And then Rasulullah said, I will helplessly stand there waiting for the moment when I can ask Allah to free them from the hellfire. So he said, the Sahaba, so you'll free them all? He said, it's not going to be that easy. I will bow down in the sajda when Allah will call me regarding my ummah. I will go. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, pray that Allah gives me the maqam mahmud, the very praised position where I can ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the salvation, removal of my ummah from the hellfire. But it's not going to be easy. I will fall down in the sajda for as long as Allah wills and wishes. And then he will say, rise your head, Ya Muhammad, ask me. And he says, my ummah. And he'll say, okay. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give him 30 names only. You can just ask for their removal from the hellfire. Only 30 names. Think of the crowd. Think of the number of ummah. If he's going to allow only 30 at a time, when will the others get a chance? They will be burning all that time. And 30 names will be given and 30 people will be removed from the hellfire. And then he says, then what will happen, Ya Rasulullah? He said, then I'll again go back into sajda. He said, for how long? He said, for as long as Allah wishes. And then Allah will say, rise your head, ask. He'll say, my ummah. He'll give another 30 names. Can you imagine the process? I don't know how many trillions of Muslims are existing by the time that time comes. And if 30 people are going to come out each time, can you imagine how long it's going to take? And that much time, the people will be burning in the hellfire. There will be fights in the hellfire. There will be curses and abuses in the hellfire. One will be cursing the other, saying, I followed you, because of that I'm here. He'll say, I didn't ask you to follow me. Why were you looking at me and doing things like me? Did I tell you to? And if you had sense, why didn't you do it with your own sense? Why did you? There'll be fights. All these fights are mentioned in the Quran with dialogues. That one will say this and the other will answer this. All this is written in the Quran. So all this is going on also. And Rasulullah said, only 30 people at a time I'll be able to remove from the hellfire. Until the last one I remove, I will be there. I don't know how long it takes. I will be there until the last man is removed who has ever said one time kalima, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, with sincerity. Mind you, it is conditional with sincerity. And then he says, then I will be able to remove everybody. So when people say they will be freed, they will be forgiven because they are Muslims, they have many, excuses to give for themselves. It's like a man who came and he prayed in the masjid. And then he said, Allah is Ghafurur Rahim, Allah is Ghafurur Rahim, Allah is Ghafurur Rahim. And he said that and he walked out. Rasulullah ﷺ smiled and said, poor man, he's the first one who will be going into the hellfire. You know that? Sahaba said, why? He believes Allah is Ghafurur Rahim. He said, yeah, so Allah will show him that he's also Qahhar. He is also going to give him the taste of how he can give, the punishment, because he forgot to balance that. He's only thinking of Allah as Ghafurur Rahim. He forgot Allah is Shadidul Iqab. So you have to remember that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you just know him as Ghafurur Rahim and you forget to fear him, you have to love and fear together. And how do you get that balance? Look into your lives. When we were growing up, all of us have had parents. Some of us still have parents, okay? So obviously, when we were growing up, we were under the control and guardianship of our parents. What did we feel about our parents? If I come late, my father will get angry. My mother will not talk to me. If I don't do my work, my mother is going to be angry. I don't want to spoil the atmosphere of my family or home. So what do? I think I will go home early. I don't want to see my father's bad face. I have to go home. Why? Because I fear my father? Yes. I fear to make him angry because I love him. And when you stop having this fear, you show and express you have no love for that person. If I stop feeling anything, my parents are going to be angry, that means I don't love them because I don't care. And the same way we are with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, same relationship. If we obey Allah, it's because we love him. We don't want to make him angry. We want him. We want his support, his mercy, his help, everything from him. If he's going to be angry, where will we go? Who will we go to? It's just like a child. Where will the child go? If the parents say get out, then where does he go? So you have to understand, you need Allah. So don't make him angry. And that doesn't mean you fear in the sense like some people make fear so great that it's only fear of Allah. No, you have to have love of Allah to fear him, to fear making angry, to fear making him upset, to fear making him go away from you, keep you away from him. We need closeness with Allah. So this is where it is that you have to understand the relationship between us and Allah is of love, hope, and fear together. So when we don't have it, we fall into error. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us here that there is nobody who can give you shifaat or who can take you away from anything which is, because nobody can relieve you. If somebody says this peer, this maulana, that maulana, this saint, that saint, nobody can. Bi-idhnillah. Unless Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's, izn is there, his will is there, his permission is there, nothing can happen. Nobody can actually save you from the hellfire or from the punishment until and unless Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decreed it for you. And how Allah will decree? Did not anybody think when I'm telling that only 30 names will be given to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam for shafaat each time? Who will be the first 30? Did that not cross your mind? It crossed my mind when I heard, who will be the first 30? When will our turn come? So he said, those first 30 who obeyed Allah the most, who followed the sunnah most, they will be the first 30. So look into your lives. Look into yourselves. How much do you follow? How much are you obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And how much do you obey your desires? How much do you love the world and how much do you love Allah? And what is the world's worth according to Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? Let me give you an idea. Once Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was going with his Sahaba, and he stopped. There was a carcass of a dead animal, maybe a donkey, which was rotten. You know, somebody has removed the skin of a dead animal and left it somewhere. You can imagine after Qurbani, you know, if the skin is lying somewhere, you'll find all the mosquitoes and flies and God knows what not, and the stink starts coming, and you can feel that filthiness there. Okay, it was filthy. And he said, who will purchase this? Ya Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, why would anybody purchase a rotten skin of an animal, dead animal? It is filthy, it's rotten, it's stinking. He said, yes, I'm asking you, can you purchase this for a dirham? So one Sahabi said, Ya Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, I will not ever purchase this for 1 dirham. If somebody gives me free also, I won't take. Right? You and me will also not take. He said, this is the worth of dunya in the eyes of Allah. And how much you crave for it. This is the worth of dunya in the eyes of Allah. This is dunya. And how much we die for it. We go away from Allah to please the dunya. We forget to please Allah. This is where it is. You have to remember who is the creator. Who do you have to finally return to? Every time you say, Inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi raji'un, you are saying it when you hear somebody's death. You don't remember, you will also be having the same end very soon. And you don't know when. And Allah says in the Quran, it will come to them, the death will come to them at a time when they are busy in dunya, when they are feeding their children, when they are playing in the fields, when they are doing their work, in the meetings, in this and that, and it will be told their time is up. Let's go. So they will be absolutely taken by surprise. Are you ready? Ask yourself, am I ready? If the angel of death comes to my door knocking and he says, your time is up, let's go. Am I going to say, no, hold on. You know, my salah was not okay. My hijab was not proper. My deeds were all here and there. Okay, just give me some time. Sorry, there's no time now. You were given so many years. What did you do with them? If we give you more time, you'll be doing the same stuff. So this is how it's going to be. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not going to relieve you. And again, I'm telling, the Muslims who are put into the hellfire will not be relieved in a jiffy by Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam saying, I've got that maqam, so please give me my ummah out, and they will all be just coming out. No, nothing like that is going to take place. Only 30 people at a time, depending on how close you were to the Quran and Sunnah, how close you were to the Sirat-e-Mustaqim. And accordingly, you will be moved out of the hellfire. So think about it. This is important to think about. Secondly, also to think, how do we, besides Rasulullah, and Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, make dua for me. If Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam had the knowledge of everything, he would not say, make dua for me, I get this. He can make dua for himself, and his dua is never going to be rejected. Well, sometimes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does reject duas from Nabi also. He rejected Ibrahim, Nuh, and Rasulullah sallallahu duas. He can reject, yes, it's there in the Quran. What he doesn't want to accept, he will not accept even from the Nabi. In Surah Tawbah, Allah says to Rasulullah sallallahu, do not pray for those who are kafirin. I will not accept the dua of a munafiqeen. Even if you ask 70 times the dua, I will not accept it. These are the words from the Quran. Munafiqeen, not even kafir. And who are munafiqeen? Let's define them. Those who know about deen and they don't follow, they are the munafiqeen. Sometimes in a television interview, once somebody asked me, how did I come into this field at a young age? Okay, from the age of 20, I'm doing this dawah work. They asked me, how did you come into this? This was my turning point. This question came to me, am I a Muslim or a munafiq? And I realized, no, I'm not a Muslim, I'm a munafiq. I know Quran, I know we are Muslims, I know Allah and Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, but I'm not following everything. I'm not wearing hijab. I'm not praying all 5 times. I skip whenever. I don't care much about it. So I'm not very conscious of my deeds, and I don't do things for Allah. I'm just doing things for myself most of the time. I'm a munafiq. Oh my Allah, save me. And I turn to Quran. Allah, make me a Muslim. And then I turned to this. I turned my life 360 degrees around. This is where it touched me. Everybody has a calling. If Allah wants to give you hidayah and Allah loves you, He will bring you to Allah's path because He wants you to come towards Him. He will bring you to His path. And He will test you. Don't think this path is going to be easy. Remember, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created paradise and then He created hell, and then He asked Jibreel alayhi salam, today I have created hell and heaven. Go and check my creation. So Jibreel alayhi salam went to visit the hell and went to visit the heaven, and he came back and said, Ya Rasulullah sallam, what a place you have created in the heaven. Everybody you create in dunya will all love to go to heaven. There is nothing better I've ever seen than the paradise you created. What a Jannah. And then he said, but what a hell you created, Ya Allah, Ya Rab. Nobody will ever even go close to it, because just the steam of it can burn the person completely. So, how is it going to be? Hell will be empty and Jannah will be full. He said, yeah, Jibreel, you didn't see it properly. Go back and see it properly. So he went back and he goes and sees Jannah. He goes slowly. Now he's going more consciously. He has to find out what Allah wants to tell him. And he goes to the hell and he sees the hell. And he comes back and says, Ya Jibreel, you saw them now again? What did you feel? He said, Ya Allah, hardly few will reach Jannah. And most of them will be in the hellfire of the creation. He said, what will happen to them, Ya Allah? He said, tell me, how did you gauge that? He said, because now when I went to see Jannah, I saw the path to Jannah. It's a very difficult path. It has got very difficult levels, lots of tests, hurdles, difficulties, calamities. To reach Jannah is not an easy path. And people will very easily lose that out and fall into the path of the hellfire. It is glittering, exciting, inviting, and it's very persuasive. Until they reach the pit of the Jahannam, they will not realize which path they have taken. So most of them will be in the hellfire. And Rasulullah SAW did say that amongst my ummah, most of them will be falling into the hellfire. Some will reach Jannah. So all this is being told. So where is the question of the shafaat that we rely upon so much? When Rasulullah SAW asked us after every azan, because you know there is a time of acceptance of dua. Between azan and iqama is one of the times which is acceptance of dua time. And he said, at that time after azan, make dua for me. You know, we all make dua. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give the maqam mahmud to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We are making dua for him. And foolishly people go to Medina and ask Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to make dua for them. He cannot, he's finished, he's gone, he's no more. He can't make dua for anybody. Nobody who's dead can make dua for anybody. Who are living can make dua for the dead. Okay? So this is where we understand, okay, that we have to make dua at between azan and iqama for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to get that position. What else can take us out from the hellfire? Besides Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's shafaat that we are totally relying on, other than that, what else? It's our good deeds, our righteous deeds. When I feel I have got difficulties, then every good deed I make consciously saying, Allah, I'm making this good deed only for you. Accept it. And if you like it, please remove this difficulty from my life. Make wasila of your good deeds. Your good deeds is the best way to make wasila. Do you have enough good deeds to make wasila? Did you do enough deeds for the sake of Allah? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I left my fashion. When I go out, I wear hijab and abaya for your sake. If you like my deed, please remove this pain in this part of my body. You can ask. But have you left anything for Allah? Or you've left everything, Allah for everything in dunya? Where are you? Gauge yourself. Ask yourself, where am I? Am I leaving everything? Or am I having everything and leaving Allah? And then suddenly when I have a difficulty, I go to Allah, Allah, please, please help me, help me. Help. Allah says, in good times, when you remember me, I will remember you in your bad time. When you forget me in your good time and you come back in your bad time, I'm not there for you. I will also take time. You took time to come to me. Now I'll take time to answer you. It's not going to happen immediately. Your connection is weak. When your connection is good with Allah, nothing will affect you because you keep thinking everything is from Allah. You can survive everything. But when your connection is weak with Allah, everything will hit you. Rasulullah Sallallahu simple words in this is, he said, every moment, the one who has iman in Allah and connection with Allah takes every calamity as an incident. And if it's a weak moment, he takes every incident as a calamity. Oh, musibat. Oh, I don't know why this is happening to me. My children have gone astray. My car has broken down. My house is creaking. My business is down. Everything is happening bad to me. Why me? Think, ask yourself, is it punishment or is it a test? If you're going away from Allah, it's a punishment. If you're going closer to Allah, it's a test. So see yourself, where are you? And this is how the shafa'at takes place. So Allah says, Man zalladhi yashfa'u indahu illa bi'izni ya'lamu ma bayna aydihim wa ma khalfahum. And he has the ilm, he has the knowledge of what's inside you and what you are revealing. What you conceal and what you reveal, Allah knows it. I come and meet Hania and say, oh, Hania, you're so nice. I love you so much. Why is she looking nice? This is in my heart. Allah sees it. I'm not sincere. Okay? And from somewhere out of 10 points, she will also feel that 1 point. She was nice to me, but something was uncomfortable. She was not looking real. She didn't sound real. You know, you'll feel it. When you meet somebody who's not sincere or not real, you'll know it. That sense comes. From where that sense is coming? Allah is informing you. Because Allah knows what's hidden inside and what we reveal outside. We may reveal something totally different, but inside something bad is going on. So our intentions will come out. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also gives you according to what you intend. Puts you on that path. When you intend not to follow Allah, Allah gives you friends who takes you away from the right path. They'll take you away from the right path because that's what you wanted deep inside. That was your niyyah. When you look for good, Allah sends you to the good people. Okay? So this is to explain to you, أَيْدِيهِمْ وَمَا خَلْفَهُمْ وَلَا يُحِيطُونَ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنْ عِلْمِهِ إِلَّا بِمَا شَاءَ. And there is nothing that can happen without the will of Allah. We all know, not a leaf can move. You cannot blink if Allah doesn't will. I had an auntie who I met after many years in Pune. She's no more now. And I was very young then. And I realized at that time, you know, I used to see everything with the eyes of Quran when I started learning, obviously. And I saw her, she had a drop jaw problem. So her mouth used to, so she had to always keep a dupatta or some, you know, cloth between her teeth to keep her mouth closed. And I thought, subhanallah, she can't close her mouth. I said, Baji, you can't close your mouth? She said, no. So she has to talk like this. If you want to talk to her, then she put this here. And I said, no, I can't close my mouth. Then she removed. Can you imagine somebody like that? Did you ever thank Allah that you close your mouth? Did you ever think that's a blessing? I thought from that day, it's a blessing I'm able to close my mouth. Then I met another auntie who has drooping eyelids problem. So her eyes are like that. She looks like that. She talks like that. And I said, you can't open your eyes? She said, no. Best of surgeons in America, she's gone and shown nothing can be done. She's got a condition called drooping eyelids. Did we ever thank Allah that we can close and open our eyes the way we want to? How many things I can tell you like this? I met a relative of mine who I saw making eyebrows with a pencil. So I said, you should not make eyebrows with a pencil. It's not allowed. She removed it like this and she said, I have no eyebrows. I said, Allah, you don't have eyebrows? She said, see, if I remove them, you'll not like my face. I said, but this is your test. You can't draw eyebrows. This is from Allah. I have another cousin who did not have hair in her head. I used to tell her, why do you wear a wig? You're a young girl, 18-year-old girl, wearing a wig strangely. So she said, removed, I have no hair. I said, wear a scarf, please. Can't wear a wig. This is your test. Did you thank Allah you have hair on your head? Think about it today. Think about it. How much Allah has blessed us and we are so quick to complain. أَيْدِيهِمْ وَمَا خَلْفَهُمْ وَلَا يُحِيطُونَ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنْ عِلْمِهِ. So nothing can happen without the will of Allah. All with His will, all with His knowledge. إِلَّا بِمَا شَاءَ. Without the will of Allah, nothing happens. وَسِعَ كُرْسِيُهُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. The kursi of His is so huge, it's like a ring thrown into the heaven, and it is from this end to that end. And what is this kursi? It's not the kursi where He sits on. It's the footstool of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is occupying the entire heaven. So what is the throne like? You will imagine if my footstool is so big, obviously my seat will be bigger than that. So He's talking about His footstool is such that it is from here to there, it is just His footstool. Kursiyu samawati wal ard. From samawat to ard is His kursi. The kursi where He's just keeping His foot. Think about it. Kursiyu samawati wal ard. Wala ya'udahu hifzuhuma wa huwa al-aliyyul azim. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in control of everything from heaven to earth. Everything is in His control. And He is the protector of everything. No one else can protect you. And nobody can destroy you if they want to, if Allah wants to protect you. And nobody can protect you if Allah has decreed a destruction for you. So connect with Allah. So this is your relationship with Rabb. Who are you? Allah is telling in every phrase, Allahu. Now I'll go back just for you to just quickly revise. Allahu, it's my name, Allah. La ilaha illa, there is no other being worthy of worship. La ilaha illa, huwa al-hayyul qayyum, is hayat. Remember, you will die. He'll be there. You depend on Him. La ta'khuduhu sinatam wala nawm. Neither He dozes off nor He sleeps. La ta'khuduhu sinatam wala nawm. Lahu ma fis samawati wa ma fil ard. So don't think you are owner of anything. Stop thinking. Get out of that thought. You're not owner of anything. He is. Lahu ma fis samawati wa ma fil ard. Man zal ladhi yashfa'u indahu illa bi izni illa bima sha'a. Nobody can give shafaat to you, protect you, get you out of the hellfires, speak for you. Nobody. Not your children will help you, not your parents will help you. Nobody will help you. You will be alone between you and Allah. Okay, Wasiya kursiyu samawati wal ard. This is to tell you how huge and mighty and majestic He is. That from ard to samawat is His kursi, just footstool. And He is the protector. وَلَا يَؤُودَهُ حِفْظُهُمَا وَهُوَ الْعَلِيُّ الْعَظِيمُ. He is the mighty and majestic. You cannot fathom, comprehend His being. He's that great a power. And He is the controller. That is who He is to us. he was introducing himself in this ayah. And that's what makes this ayah the most important ayah of the entire Quran. I'll end with one small quick story because very important and related to Ayat al Kursi. During Ramadan, we know we all give more sadaqah during Ramadan. Rasulullah gave the most sadaqah during Ramadan, and we know everything is multiplied so many times. Okay, 700 times it can go to, according to what niyyah we give sadaqah or we give zakah and whatever. So we like to do more during Ramadan. We send more food, more, we feast also people more, give iftar, whatever we can do. Okay, so lots of sadaqah got collected in Baitul Mal. Rasulullah received a lot of sadaqat during Ramadan, and it was a lot of wealth. He put it in the Baitul Mal and he asked Abu Huraira to be in charge. And he said, yeah, Abu Huraira, they had a duty, na? Because they did not have security guards and things like that in those days. They did not have banks and closets. So they said, okay, this is Baitul Mal, too much of sadaqah is there, too much money is there. So Sahabi has to be on duty morning and night. One Sahabi in the morning, one in the night. So that night, Abu Huraira was on duty to look after the sadaqat of Baitul Mal. And he said, Abu Huraira, remember, there is a lot of wealth and make sure that nobody steals. He said, no, Ya Rasulullah, how can it be? So I will be guarding the wealth. So he sat, and while sitting, you know, it's like when you're sitting idle for a long time, you doze off, you're a human being with limitation, and he dozed off. When he dozed off, he heard the rustling, bustling sound as if somebody's, you know, doing something, moving something, and he got up. And he saw a man trying to take all that and putting it in his cloth. He caught him from behind. And he said, thief, thief, I'm going to present you to Rasulullah tomorrow. I'm not going to leave you. How dare you come to Baitul Mal and you're stealing from Baitul Mal? He said, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. You know, I have, you know, small children. I couldn't resist. I needed some food. So he said, no, I'm not going to leave. He said, no, please. I will not come again. Please, just let me go. Sahaba were very kind-hearted. He let him go. Next morning, Rasulullah called Abu Huraira to check on the happening, and he just said, so how did it go last night? Everything okay? Yeah, Abu Huraira? He said, yes, Rasulullah, all okay. He said, you're not going to tell me about the thief? He said, oh God, he's come to know about the thief. He said, sorry, Ya Rasulullah, yes, there was a man who was, you know, rustling into the mal, but I caught him. He said, where is he? Bring him here. No, I let him go. You let him go? Why? He said, no, he cried and he promised he will not come again. And he said he had, you know, this desperate situation. So I let him go. He said, yeah, Abu Huraira, he will come again. And he's a liar. He said, no, Ya Rasulullah, he told me, he gave me a word. He said, you watch out. So second night now, he's more alert and watching out. You know, he should catch the thief now. But he falls asleep again. And when he falls asleep again, this man again comes and he's rustling into the wealth again. So he caught him and he said, you embarrassed me in front of Rasulullah. I'm not going to let you go today. I'm going to present you in front of Rasulullah. You've come again and you're stealing. I won't let you go. He said, please. You know, I told you about my children, but I didn't tell you about my old parents who are sick. Very sick parents, very old parents. You know, you have to understand, you know, children, okay, I can tell something, but you know, my parents, okay. Nothing doing. I'm going to tie you up and I'm going to show you. Please let me go. I'll not come. I promise I will not come again. And he begged him so much that he made it impossible for him to retain him. He let him go again. The next morning, same thing happens. Rasulullah asked, Ya Abi Huraira, what's the story of the wealth? Everything okay? He said, yes, everything's fine. He said, so your thief came again? He said, yeah, Rasulullah, he did come again. I told you he's a liar. So he said, okay, it's all right. Bring him. He said, no, I let him go again. I'm sorry. Why did you let him go again? Yeah, Abi Huraira, second time at least you should bring him in. No, because he said he had old parents. And if he doesn't go, you know, they need him. And he said all those things, you know, I felt sad for him, so I let him go. He said he's a liar. He will come again. He'll try again. You don't know. He said, no, Ya Rasulullah, I will be very, very careful and conscious today. So the third day he's sitting and he's saying, I'm not going to sleep today. I'm not going to doze off today. But he dozed off again. Human being. Okay. And again, this man is again there. He caught him and he said, nothing doing. I don't want to speak to you. So he tied him up. I'm going to keep you tied up till morning and take you and present you to Rasulullah. You've embarrassed me twice. If I let you go third time, I'll have no face to show to Rasulullah. I will not go in front of him myself if I let you go. I'm not letting you. So he tied him up. And he said, I'm not going to let you go. Sit here, tied up, and don't speak. Then after some time, he said, Ya Abu Huraira, can I teach you something so that no other thief will ever come to... Yes, yes. No other thief will ever come to Baitul Mal. Can you do something about it? He said, what will you tell me? He said, I can teach you something. I can teach you something, and if you learn it from me, nobody will interfere with your mal again. And you will be protected. He said, really? Now, Sahaba were very keen to learn. And especially Abu Huraira used to sit at the feet of Rasulullah, always ready to hear anything, one line, one word, I will learn. With his keenness, he said, okay, what is it? He said, Allahu la ilaha illa huwa al-hayyul. And he made him memorize Ayat al Kursi, and he said, recite this and nobody will come close to you. He said, now this was the deal. I taught you, now let me go. I told you, if I teach you, you let me go. Now that was a deal. He taught him something of ilm, so he let him go. Third day, Rasulullah caught him again. So where is your thief? First thing he asked, where's your thief? He said, Ya Rasulullah, I did let him go again. Again you let him go? Why now, Abu Huraira? This is the third time. He said, because he taught me something that he'll never be able to come again. He said, really? What did he teach you? He said, he taught me Ayat al Kursi. So when he told that this is the ayah he taught, Rasulullah smiled and said, he's taught you the right thing, but he is a perpetual liar. Do you know, Abu Huraira, who visited you the last 3 nights? He said, who? He said, Shaitan. He was a jinn. He's Shaitan. And he knows if you recite this, he cannot come near you. Now you understand why we are asked to say Ayat al Kursi to protect ourselves. When you recite Ayat al Kursi, it protects you from shayateen. Okay? So, Alhamdulillah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the blessing of Ayat al Kursi. And when we recite next time, I hope you'll remember these words and go by this, and it will have the essence rather than just a lip service to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you'll remember these words. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept this gathering. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept what I spoke here. And all of you coming here. Farida's opening her heart and her home for us, and all her hospitality, and all her niyyah, and all her amal in this, and all those who helped her in this. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept it all. And in return of that, Allah give us all the khair of dunya and akhirah, and keep us away from all the shar of dunya and akhirah. If there was any mistake or error in this, is either the fitna of shaitan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us away from every fitna of shar and shaitan. Or it is a weakness of mine. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give me the strength and ability to do his job in the best possible way that pleases him. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept it. I make dua specially for my very, very sweet dear Auntie Zubaida. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala place her in Jannat al-Firdaus and illuminate her grave. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give her the coolness. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala elevate her status there. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our duas for her. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept duas for all the people who have passed away, our parents, our beloved people who passed away from here. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep them in Jannat al-Firdaus. And may Allah make all the marahil easy for them, all the darajat given to them. And may Allah accept our duas for them. And may Allah make our end with khair. May Allah make our end with kalma shahada. May Allah give us life in dunya among the salihin and rise us among the salihin. May Allah keep us away from the hellfire and from the adab of qabr. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us away from the fitna of Dajjal. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us away from any fitna and any shar. And may Allah give health and shafa to all the people who are ill and sick and in distress. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cover us in His mercy and in His rahmah. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep our connection with Him strong, make us good mu'mineen, make our amal easy for us, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept whatever we do in His path. Ameen. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين وصلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبارك وسلم عليه سبحان الله وبحمده سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. جزاكم الله خير for listening. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.